A young maid unknowingly enters a Millionaire's executive suite and finds the guest about to dive in. This unusual encounter will change their lives forever. But first, subscribe to the channel for more exciting stories like this one. The morning sun bathed the facade of the Ocean View Resort, a luxurious beachfront establishment that stood imposingly against the blue sky of Malibu. The sea breeze carried the scent of salt and tropical flowers as wealthy guests began to wake up to another day of leisure and indulgence. In the service corridors, far from the eyes of the clients, young Sophia hurried along with her cleaning cart. At 25, she was one of the most dedicated maids in the hotel, known for her efficiency and discretion. Her brown hair was carefully tied in a bun, and her impeccable uniform reflected her professionalism. "Sophie, I need you to take care of the presidential suite today," said Mrs. Thompson, the housekeeper, with a serious look. "The guest is a VIP client, so everything needs to be perfect." Sophia nodded, feeling a mix of pride and nervousness. The presidential suite was reserved only for the most demanding and important clients. "You can count on me, Mrs. Thompson. I'll do my best." With her heart racing, Sophia headed to the top floor of the hotel. As she opened the suite door, she was greeted by an environment of incomparable luxury. The light wood walls contrasted with the natural stone details, creating a welcoming and sophisticated atmosphere. The soft lighting gave the space an intimate, almost magical air. Sophia took a deep breath, absorbing the beauty of the place. She began her work meticulously, fluffing the sofa pillows and checking if the towels were perfectly folded. When she reached the master bedroom, she was amazed by the panoramic ocean view through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Lost in her thoughts, Sophia almost forgot to clean the private pool area. She headed there, still impressed by the luxury surrounding her. The heated pool was surrounded by an extensive indoor deck, with comfortable lounges and a small sitting area. As she opened the glass door separating the bedroom from the pool area, Sophia froze. There, standing near the edge of the pool, was a man. He had just taken off his robe, revealing an athletic physique covered only by swim trunks. The man, equally surprised, turned quickly at the sound of the door. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Sophia felt her face burn with embarrassment as the man stared at her with wide eyes. The silence between them was palpable, charged with awkwardness and an inexplicable tension. I'm so sorry," Sophia stammered, averting her gaze. "I didn't know anyone was here." The man, recovering from the initial shock, smiled gently. "It's my fault," he said, his voice deep and smooth. "I should have locked the door. Please don't worry about it." Sophia nodded, still unable to look at him directly. She turned to leave, but in her haste, she tripped on the edge of the deck. In a quick reflex, the man extended his hand, grabbing her arm to prevent her from falling. In that brief moment of contact, their eyes met again. Sophia felt an electric current run through her body. His eyes, a deep blue like the ocean outside, seemed to see through her, awakening sensations she had never experienced before. "Are you okay?" he asked, his hand still lightly holding her arm. "Yes, thank you," Sophia responded, her voice almost a whisper. She gently moved away, feeling the warmth of his touch lingering on her skin. "I'm Ethan," he introduced himself, seeming to want to prolong the moment. "And you are—" "Sophia," she answered automatically, before remembering her position. I'm the maid responsible for this suite, sir." Ethan smiled, a smile that lit up his face and made Sophia's eyes linger a little longer than they should. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Sophia. And please call me Ethan." She nodded, feeling strangely comfortable despite the unusual situation. "I should go," she finally said, gathering her strength to move. "I'll come back later to finish cleaning, if that's all right." "Of course," Ethan replied, his gaze still fixed on her. "I'll be out all afternoon. Feel free to come back then." Sophia quickly left, closing the door behind her. She leaned against the wall in the hallway, her heart beating erratically. What had happened in there? Why had that brief encounter left her so shaken? On the other side of the door, Ethan remained motionless for a few moments, his thoughts a confusion of images and sensations. The young maid with honey-colored eyes and a shy smile had awakened something in him that had long been dormant. In the days that followed, both Sophia and Ethan found themselves thinking about that unexpected encounter. Sophia tried to convince herself that it was just an embarrassing moment, something to forget and move on from. But every time she passed by the corridor leading to the presidential suite, her heart raced. Ethan, in turn, found himself looking for Sophia in the corridors and common areas of the hotel. He saw her a few times from afar, always busy with her tasks, always professional, but he couldn't forget the sparkle in her eyes, the blush on her cheeks when their gazes met. A week after the incident, Sophia was called again to clean the presidential suite. With her heart in her throat, she knocked on the door, hoping Ethan wouldn't be there. To her relief and surprisingly a twinge of disappointment, the suite was empty. While making the king-size bed, Sophia noticed a thick envelope on the nightstand. Normally, she wouldn't pay attention to guests' personal objects, but the name on the envelope caught her attention. Claire Bennett, Public Relations. Without meaning to, Sophia found herself wondering who Claire was and what her relationship with Ethan might be. A girlfriend? Wife? The thought bothered her more than it should, and she mentally scolded herself for being curious about a guest's personal life. Finishing her tasks, Sophia was about to leave when she heard the suite door open. Her heart raced when she saw Ethan enter, wearing an elegant suit that accentuated his athletic figure. "Sophia," he said, a smile lighting up his face. "It's good to see you again." "Sir, I mean Ethan," she responded, feeling nervous and excited at the same time. "I hope everything is in order with the suite." "It's perfect, as always," he replied, his eyes never leaving hers. "Actually, I was hoping to run into you. I wanted to apologize again for the other day and, well, I wanted to get to know you better." Sophia felt the blush rise up her neck. "There's no need to apologize," she said softly. "It was an accident." Ethan took a step in her direction, closing the distance between them. "Maybe," he said, his voice low and intense, "but since that day I haven't been able to stop thinking about you." The air seemed to get thicker, charged with an electricity that Sophia had never felt before. She knew she should leave, maintain professional distance, but her feet seemed glued to the floor. She began, but was interrupted by the sound of her walkie-talkie. "Sophia, I need you at the reception desk now," Mrs. Thompson's voice sounded, breaking the moment. "I need to go," Sophia said, her voice trembling. Ethan nodded, a look of disappointment crossing his face. "I understand, but Sophia, this isn't over. We'll see each other again." As she hurriedly left the suite, Sophia felt her heart beating hard against her chest. She knew she was entering dangerous territory, that she should keep her distance from Ethan, but a part of her, a part she didn't even know existed, yearned for more, to discover where this unexpected connection could lead her. What Sophia didn't know was that her life was about to change drastically. Fate had put Ethan in her path, and the consequences of this encounter would be deeper and more transformative than she could ever imagine. The days following the encounter in the presidential suite were a whirlwind of emotions for Sophia. She constantly found herself reliving the intense look in Ethan's eyes, the deep tone of his voice, the gentle touch on her arm. She tried to convince herself that it was nothing more than a silly fantasy, that a man like him would never be interested in a simple maid, but her heart persisted in racing every time she caught a glimpse of him in the hotel corridors. Ethan, for his part, couldn't get Sophia out of his thoughts. There was something about that young woman with honey-colored eyes that intrigued him, that made him question everything he had considered important in his life until now. He found himself inventing excuses to stay longer at the hotel, hoping to cross paths with her again. On a particularly busy afternoon, Sophia was running from one side to the other, attending to guests' demands. As she hurriedly turned a corner, she collided with someone, dropping the towels she was carrying. "I'm sorry, Her voice faltered as she recognized Ethan. "Sophia," he smiled, bending down to help her collect the towels. "It seems we're destined to meet in unusual situations." She laughed nervously, feeling her face burn. "I'm sorry, Mr. Ethan. I should have been paying more attention." "Please, it's just Ethan," he insisted, handing her the last towel. Their fingers touched briefly, sending an electric current through both of them. "Actually, I was hoping to run into you. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment." Sophia hesitated, looking around nervously. I don't know if that would be appropriate." "Just a few minutes," Ethan pleaded, his blue eyes beseeching. "In the hotel garden, after your shift. It's important." Before Sophia could respond, she heard Mrs. Thompson's voice calling her. "I need to go," she said hurriedly, moving away with her heart pounding. The rest of the day passed like a blur for Sophia. She debated between curiosity and fear of what Ethan might want. When her shift finally ended, she found herself walking hesitantly towards the garden. Ethan was already there, contemplating the sunset that was tinting the sky in shades of orange. When he saw her, his face lit up with a smile. "You came," he said softly. "I shouldn't be here," Sophia replied, crossing her arms defensively. Ethan took a step in her direction. "Sophia, I know this may seem crazy, but since that day in the suite, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. There's something special about you, something that makes me want to get to know you better." Sophia felt her heart race. "Mr. Ethan, this can't happen. We're from different worlds. I'm just an employee and I'm just a man," he gently interrupted her. "A man who, for the first time in a long time, feels alive, curious, eager to truly know someone." At that moment, a shrill voice cut through the air. "Ethan, there you are!" They both turned to see an elegant woman approaching. Tall, blonde, impeccably dressed, she was the embodiment of sophistication. "Claire," Ethan muttered, his face losing some of its brightness. The woman, Claire, cast a curious look at Sophia before turning to Ethan. "Darling, we're late for dinner with the investors. Did you forget?" Ethan seemed momentarily confused. Yes, I'm sorry, I'll be right there." Claire smiled, satisfied, and walked away towards the hotel entrance. Ethan turned to Sophia, who had taken a few steps back. "Sophia, I can explain." "There's nothing to explain, Mr. Ethan," she interrupted him, her voice trembling. "As I said, we're from different worlds. Please, forget this happened." Before Ethan could respond, Sophia quickly walked away, fighting against the tears that threatened to fall. In the days that followed, Sophia did everything to avoid Ethan. She switched shifts with colleagues, avoided the corridors he usually frequented, but fate seemed to have other plans. One night, while doing her final round before ending her shift, Sophia heard raised voices coming from one of the private lounges. She immediately recognized Ethan's voice. "I can't continue with this anymore, Claire," he was saying, exasperated. "This arranged engagement, this farce, it's not fair to either of us." "Fair?" Claire retorted, her voice cold. "What's fair, Ethan, is honoring the agreement between our families. You have responsibilities, a reputation to uphold." Sophia knew she shouldn't be listening, but she couldn't move away. Her heart ached as she perceived the conflict in Ethan's voice. "And my happiness?" he questioned. "Doesn't that count for anything?" "Happiness?" Claire laughed humorlessly. "You think you'll find happiness with that maid? Please, Ethan, be realistic." The silence that followed was deafening. Sophia felt as if the air had been ripped from her lungs. She moved away silently, her mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The next morning, Sophia was called to clean the presidential suite. With a heavy heart, she entered the room, determined to do her job and leave as quickly as possible. But as she entered the bathroom, she found Ethan, still dressed in last night's clothes, sitting on the floor with his head in his hands. "Mr. Ethan?" she called softly, concerned. He raised his head, his eyes red and tired, lighting up when he saw her. "Sophia," he murmured, standing up with difficulty. I'm sorry you had to see me like this." "Is everything okay?" she asked, momentarily forgetting all her reservations. Ethan took a step towards her, stumbling. "No," he admitted, "nothing is okay. My life is a lie, Sophia. A perfect facade hiding an immense void. Until, she whispered, her heart beating fast. "Until I met you," he completed, his eyes fixed on hers. "You made me question everything, made me desire something real, something true." Sophia felt tears forming in her eyes. "Ethan, please, we can't." He moved closer, taking her hands in his. "Why not? Why can't we give a chance to what we're feeling?" At that moment, all the barriers that Sophia had erected seemed to be crumbling. She found herself lost in Ethan's eyes, feeling the warmth of his hands, the magnetism of his presence. She began, but was interrupted by the sound of her walkie-talkie. "Sophia, I need you at the reception desk immediately." Mrs. Thompson's voice sounded, breaking the moment. Sophia stepped back, releasing Ethan's hands. "I need to go," she said, her voice trembling. "Sophia, please," Ethan pleaded. "Don't run away from me. Don't run away from what we're feeling." She looked at him one last time, her heart torn between desire and fear. "I'm sorry," she whispered, before hurriedly leaving the suite. As she ran through the hotel corridors, Sophia felt she was on the brink of something immense, something that could change her life forever. But would she have the courage to take that leap? What Sophia didn't know was that her decisions in the coming days would affect not only her life but also Ethan's, Claire's, and everyone around her. Fate had placed a choice before her, and the consequences would be deeper and more transformative than she could ever imagine. The sun had barely risen when Sophia arrived at the Ocean View Resort for her morning shift. Her thoughts were still stuck on the previous night, on the unexpected encounter with Ethan in the presidential suite. She tried to focus on her tasks, but the image of his pleading eyes begging her not to run away wouldn't leave her mind. "Sophie, are you okay?" asked Olivia, her co-worker and best friend at the hotel. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Sophia forced a smile. "I'm fine. Just didn't sleep well." Olivia looked at her suspiciously. "Are you sure? You've been acting strange lately. Does it have something to do with that guest in the presidential suite?" Sophia's face burned. "I don't know what you're talking about," she muttered, avoiding her friend's gaze. "Oh, Sophie," Olivia sighed. "Be careful, okay? I've seen this story before, and it never ends well for us." Olivia's words weighed on Sophia throughout the morning. She knew her friend was right, that getting involved with a guest could only end in heartbreak, but her heart stubbornly refused to listen to reason. While cleaning one of the rooms on the third floor, Sophia heard raised voices coming from the hallway. Curious, she approached the door. "You can't do this to me, Ethan." Claire's voice sounded shrill. "Think of the scandal, the shame for our families." "Enough, Claire," Ethan's voice was firm. "I can't live this lie anymore. It's not fair to you or to me." Sophia felt her heart race. Was Ethan ending his engagement with Claire? "It's because of her, isn't it?" Claire accused. "That insignificant maid. You'd throw everything away for a fling?" "Don't talk about her like that," Ethan shot back. "Sophia made me see that there's more to life than contracts and appearances. She makes me want to be a better person." The sound of receding footsteps indicated that the discussion had ended. Sophia remained motionless, trying to process what she had just heard. Ethan had defended her, had spoken of her with such tenderness. That afternoon during her break, Sophia decided to go to the beach in front of the hotel to clear her mind. Sitting on the sand, watching the waves, she tried to put her thoughts in order. "May I sit?" A familiar voice pulled her from her reverie. Ethan was there, looking nervous but determined. Sophia nodded silently, her heart beating fast. "Sophia," he began, "I know you heard my conversation with Claire this morning." She looked at him in surprise. "How?" "I saw you in the hallway," he explained, "and I'm glad you heard, because now I can tell you, face to face, what I've been feeling." Ethan took Sophia's hands in his. "From the moment I saw you in that suite, something changed in me. You made me question everything I believed was important. Money, status, appearances, none of that matters when I'm with you." Sophia felt tears forming in her eyes. "Ethan, this is madness. We barely know each other." "Then let's get to know each other," he smiled. "Give me a chance, Sophia. A chance to show you that what I feel is real." At that moment, looking into Ethan's eyes, Sophia felt all her defenses crumbling. She nodded slightly, a small smile forming on her lips. What followed were weeks of secret meetings, conversations until dawn, and a love growing with each day. Ethan and Sophia met in hidden corners of the hotel, on the deserted beach at night, in small cafes in town where no one would recognize them. Sophia discovered that behind the facade of successful businessman, Ethan was a sensitive man, passionate about photography and with a secret dream of opening an art gallery. Ethan, in turn, became increasingly enchanted by Sophia's simplicity and strength, her passion for literature, and her desire to one day study English literature at college. But it wasn't all roses. The pressure on Ethan increased each day. His family didn't accept the breaking off of his engagement to Claire, and rumors about his involvement with a hotel employee were beginning to spread. One night, as they walked along the beach under the moonlight, Ethan seemed particularly tense. "What's wrong?" Sophia asked, concerned. Ethan sighed heavily. "My father, he found out about us. He's threatening to disinherit me, take away my position in the company." Sophia felt a weight in her stomach. "Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault." "No," he interrupted her firmly. "It's not your fault. It's the first time in my life that I feel truly happy, Sophia. I'm not going to give that up. He knelt on the sand, taking her hands. Sophie, I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I don't care about money or status. I just want you. Sophia felt her heart was about to explode with happiness. I love you too, Ethan, she whispered, tears of joy streaming down her face. But the happiness of that moment was interrupted by an angry voice. So this is how it ends, Ethan. They turned to see Claire standing a few meters away, her face contorted with rage. You throw away everything we've built for this nobody. Claire, please. Ethan tried to calm the situation. It's not like that. No? Claire laughed humorlessly. Then tell me, Ethan, what is it like? Because to me it looks like you're throwing your life in the trash for a whim. Sophia took a step forward. Look, I understand that you're hurt, but you don't understand anything, Claire shouted. You have no idea what's at stake here, but don't worry, darling. Soon you'll discover that Ethan isn't the Prince Charming you think he is. With those enigmatic words, Claire walked away, leaving Ethan and Sophia stunned. What did she mean by that? Sophia asked, a chill running down her spine. Ethan looked pale. I don't know. Sophie, there's something I need to tell you. Something about my past, about my family. At that moment, Ethan's cell phone rang. He answered it, his face becoming increasingly serious as he listened. I understand, I'll be there in half an hour. Hanging up the phone, he turned to Sophia. It was my father. He wants to see me immediately. Sophie, meet me tomorrow at the cafe in the square. I have something important to tell you. With a quick kiss, Ethan left, leaving Sophia with a whirlwind of emotions and doubts. What did Ethan need to tell her? What secrets was he hiding? And how would this affect their future? As she walked back home, Sophia couldn't help but feel that she was on the brink of a big revelation, something that could change everything. The love she felt for Ethan was real and deep, but would it be strong enough to overcome the obstacles that were presenting themselves? With a heavy heart and a mind full of questions, Sophia fell asleep that night, not knowing that the next day would bring revelations that would change her life forever. The morning arrived with a dense fog covering Malibu, as if nature itself was setting the stage for the revelations to come. Sophia woke up early, her stomach in knots of anxiety. Claire's words and Ethan's mysterious behavior the night before wouldn't leave her mind. Arriving at the cafe in the square, Sophia spotted Ethan sitting at a secluded table. He seemed to have aged years overnight, with deep dark circles and an air of defeat she had never seen before. Ethan, she called softly, sitting across from him. What happened? He raised his eyes, a mix of love and pain in his gaze. Sophie, before anything else, I need you to know that I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone in my entire life. Sophia's heart raced. You're scaring me, Ethan. What's going on? Ethan took a deep breath. Remember, I said I had something to tell you about my past, about my family. He paused, gathering courage. The truth is that my family, that isn't exactly what it seems to be. What do you mean? Sophia asked, confused. My father, Ethan began, his voice low and tense. He's not just a successful businessman. He has connections with powerful people who operate outside the law. Sophia felt her blood run cold. You mean? Yes, Ethan confirmed, shame evident in his voice. A large part of my family's business is actually a front for illicit activities. The silence that followed was deafening. Sophia felt as if the ground had been pulled from under her feet. But you're not involved in this, are you? Ethan looked away. I always tried to stay away from that part of the business, Sophie. But there are things I did in the past, things I'm not proud of. Tears began to form in Sophia's eyes. Why are you telling me this now? Because I want to start a new life with you, Ethan replied, taking her hands in his. No secrets, no lies, but also because my father is pressuring me. He wants me to take a more active role in the family business. And what are you going to do? Sophia asked, fearing the answer. I want out, Sophie. I want to leave all of this behind and start over, with you. But, he hesitated. It's not that simple. At that moment, Ethan's cell phone rang. He looked at the screen and paled. It's my father. I need to answer. Sophia watched as Ethan walked away to take the call. Her mind was a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, love, fear, disappointment, hope, everything mixed in her chest. When Ethan returned, his face was tense. My father wants to see me immediately. Sophie, Go, she said softly. I need some time to think anyway. Ethan nodded, understanding. I love you, Sophie. Never doubt that. With a soft kiss, he left, leaving Sophia alone with her thoughts. In the days that followed, Sophia found herself on an emotional roller coaster. On one hand, her love for Ethan was real and deep. On the other, the revelation about his family and his past terrified her. She wondered if she would be able to build a future with someone whose past was so dark. At the hotel, things were also tense. Rumors about the breaking off of Ethan's engagement and his involvement with an employee were beginning to spread. Sophia felt the looks and whispers of her colleagues, but tried to keep her head high. One afternoon, while cleaning one of the rooms, Sophia was surprised by Claire. So, Claire said, her voice laden with disdain, I imagine Ethan has told you everything. Sophia turned, facing the other woman. What do you want, Claire? I want you to understand what you're getting into, darling, Claire replied, her tone falsely sweet. You think you know Ethan, that he's this noble and passionate man. Let me tell you something about your Prince Charming. Against her will, Sophia found herself listening as Claire revealed sordid details about Ethan's past, stories of shady deals, of people hurt, of a life of privilege built on the suffering of others. Why are you telling me this? Sophia asked, tears in her eyes. Because you deserve to know the truth, Claire replied, surprisingly sincere. And because, believe it or not, I'm trying to protect you. This world, it's not for people like you, Sophia. With those words, Claire left, leaving Sophia more confused and shaken than ever. That night, unable to sleep, Sophia decided to take a walk on the beach. The full moon illuminated the sand, creating an almost magical scene. It was then that she saw a familiar figure walking towards her. Ethan, she called, her heart racing. He approached, his face a mask of determination. Sophie, I've made a decision. I'm going to leave everything behind. The company, my family, everything. I want to start a new life, and I want it to be with you. Sophia felt a wave of emotions washing over her. Love, fear, hope, doubt. Ethan, I don't know if I can. Everything Claire told me. Claire talked to you? Ethan asked, alarmed. Sophie, please let me explain. Yes, there are things in my past that I'm not proud of, but I'm willing to face the consequences, to do whatever it takes to redeem myself. I just need to know if you'll be by my side. Sophia looked into Ethan's eyes, seeing in them the sincerity and love she felt. But she also saw the weight of the past, the secrets and shadows that surrounded them. I love you, Ethan, she finally said, but I need to be sure we're doing the right thing, that we're not deluding ourselves thinking we can simply run away from the past. Ethan nodded, understanding. I understand. And I'm willing to prove to you every day that my love is real and that I'm committed to being a better man. At that moment, under the moonlight and with the sound of waves in the background, Sophia and Ethan sealed their commitment with a passionate kiss. It was the beginning of a new journey, full of uncertainties but also of hope. What they didn't know was that, even as they celebrated their love, powerful forces were already moving against them. Ethan's father would not easily accept his son's decision to abandon the family business. And there were other secrets, even deeper and more dangerous, ready to come to light. As they walked hand in hand along the beach, Sophia and Ethan couldn't imagine the challenges that awaited them. Their love would be tested in ways they could never have foreseen, and the choices they would make in the coming days would not only shape their future, but also the fate of everyone around them. And so, as the stars began to dot the night sky of Malibu, a new era was beginning. An era of hope, of honesty, and of true love. The story of Sophia and Ethan, which began with an unexpected encounter in a hotel suite, had transformed into a saga of courage and redemption, proving that sometimes the greatest romances are born in the most unlikely places. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of emotions and events for Sophia and Ethan. They had decided to face their challenges together, but the road ahead was far from smooth. Ethan, true to his word, began the process of distancing himself from his family's illegal activities. He met with lawyers, gathered evidence, and prepared to come clean to the authorities. It was a dangerous game, one that put both him and Sophia at risk. Sophia, for her part, struggled with the implications of their relationship. She had to deal with whispers and judgmental looks at work, as rumors of her involvement with a guest spread through the hotel. Mrs. Thompson had called her in for a stern talk about professional boundaries, and Sophia found herself on thin ice, her job hanging by a thread. One evening, as they sat on the beach watching the sunset, Ethan turned to Sophia with a serious expression. "Sophie," he said, taking her hands in his, "I need to ask you something important." Sophia's heart raced. "What is it?" Ethan took a deep breath. "I'm going to turn myself in tomorrow. I'm going to confess everything I know about my family's operations to the authorities." He paused, his eyes searching hers. "I want you to come with me, to start a new life together, somewhere far from here. Will you?" Sophia felt as if the world had stopped spinning. This was it, the moment that would define their future. She thought about her job, her friends, the life she had built for herself. And then she thought about Ethan, about the love they shared, about the possibility of a future together. "Yes," she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. "Yes, I'll go with you." Their kiss was interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps. They looked up to see Claire standing a few feet away, her face a mask of conflicting emotions. "So you're really going through with this," she said, her voice surprisingly calm. Ethan stood, positioning himself slightly in front of Sophia. "Claire, what are you doing here?" Claire ignored him, her eyes fixed on Sophia. "You have no idea what you're getting into, do you? This isn't some fairy tale romance. There are powerful people involved, people who won't hesitate to hurt you to get what they want." "We know the risks," Sophia replied, standing up and taking Ethan's hand. "But we're willing to face them together." Claire shook her head, a sad smile on her face. "I hope you're ready for what's coming. Because once you start down this path, there's no turning back." As Claire walked away, Sophia and Ethan exchanged a look of determination. They knew she was right. The path ahead would be fraught with danger. But they also knew that their love was worth fighting for. The next morning, Sophia resigned from her job at the hotel. It was a bittersweet moment, saying goodbye to the place that had been her home for so long. Olivia hugged her tightly, tears in her eyes. "Be careful out there, Sophie," she whispered, "and remember, you'll always have a friend here." Ethan picked her up in a nondescript car, his face tense but resolute. They drove in silence to the local FBI office, both lost in their thoughts about what was to come. As they walked into the building, hand in hand, Sophia couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and excitement. This was the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one filled with uncertainty, but also with the promise of a love strong enough to overcome any obstacle. Little did they know that their story was far from over. The revelations Ethan was about to make would set in motion a chain of events that would test their love, their courage, and their very survival. The world they thought they knew was about to be turned upside down, and they would need each other more than ever to weather the storm that was coming. As Ethan began his testimony, Sophia sat in the waiting room, her heart pounding. She knew that with each word he spoke, they were stepping further into a world of danger and intrigue. But she also knew that they were doing the right thing, and that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The sun was setting over Malibu as Ethan emerged from the interrogation room, looking exhausted but relieved. Sophia rushed to embrace him, feeling the tension in his body slowly release. "It's done," Ethan whispered, holding her tight. "I told them everything." As they left the FBI office, Sophia noticed a black SUV parked across the street. A chill ran down her spine as she saw two men in suits watching them intently. "Ethan," she said quietly, "I think we're being followed." Ethan glanced over his shoulder, his jaw tightening. "It's starting already. We need to get out of here, fast." They hurried to their car, Ethan constantly checking the rearview mirror as they drove away. The SUV followed at a distance, never quite catching up but always present. "Where are we going?" Sophia asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I have a safe house set up," Ethan replied, his eyes darting between the road and the mirror. "We'll be okay there for a while." As they drove through the night, Sophia's mind raced. This was really happening. They were on the run, fleeing from dangers she could barely comprehend. Part of her was terrified, but another part felt strangely alive. She looked at Ethan, his face set in concentration, and knew that as long as they were together, they could face anything. The safe house turned out to be a small cabin nestled in the woods, about 3 hours' drive from Malibu. As they pulled up, Sophia saw no signs of other houses or people nearby. "We should be safe here for now," Ethan said as they entered the cabin. "I've had this place set up for years, just in case." The interior was simple but comfortable, with a small living area, a kitchenette, and a bedroom. Sophia walked to the window, looking out at the dark forest surrounding them. "What happens now?" she asked softly. Ethan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Now we wait. The FBI will need time to verify my information and start making arrests. Once that happens, we'll be able to come out of hiding." Sophia turned in his arms, looking up at him. And then, Ethan smiled, "we start our new life together. Anywhere you want to go, anything you want to do, the world will be ours." As they settled into life at the cabin, days turned into weeks. Ethan kept in touch with his FBI contact through a secure line, getting updates on the investigation. Sophia found herself adapting to their new reality, learning to live off the grid and always staying alert. One afternoon, as they were taking a walk in the woods surrounding the cabin, Ethan's secure phone buzzed. His face lit up as he read the message. "They've done it," he said, his voice filled with relief and excitement. "The FBI just conducted a major raid. My father, his associates, even some corrupt officials, they're all in custody." Sophia felt a wave of emotions wash over her, relief, joy, and a hint of fear for what might come next. "So it's over. We can go back." Ethan's smile faltered slightly. "Not quite yet. There's still some loose ends to tie up, testimonies to give, but we're close, Sophie. We're so close to being free." That night, as they celebrated with a bottle of wine Ethan had stashed away, Sophia felt a sense of hope she hadn't allowed herself to feel in weeks. Maybe they really could have their happily ever after. But fate had other plans. In the early hours of the morning, they were jolted awake by the sound of breaking glass. Ethan was on his feet in an instant, pulling Sophia out of bed. "We need to go now," he whispered urgently, grabbing a pre-packed bag from under the bed. They barely made it to the back door when the front of the cabin burst open. Sophia caught a glimpse of armed men in black before Ethan pulled her into the darkness of the forest. They ran, hearts pounding, branches whipping at their faces. Behind them, they could hear shouts and the beam of flashlights cutting through the trees. "Who are they?" Sophia gasped as they paused behind a large oak tree. "My father's men," Ethan replied grimly. "He must have had a contingency plan in case he was arrested. We need to keep moving." For hours they pushed through the forest, always staying one step ahead of their pursuers. As dawn broke, they found themselves at the edge of a small town. "We can't stay here long," Ethan said, looking around warily, "but we need supplies and a new vehicle." They managed to acquire some food and water from a small convenience store, paying in cash to avoid leaving a trail. As they were about to hotwire an old pickup truck, Sophia spotted a familiar face across the street. "Ethan," she whispered. "It's Claire." Sure enough, Claire was walking towards them, her face a mix of worry and determination. "What are you doing here?" Ethan hissed as she approached. "Saving your lives," Claire replied. "I've been tracking you. My father's men are closing in. You need to come with me now if you want to survive." Sophia and Ethan exchanged a look. Could they trust Claire? But with the sound of approaching vehicles in the distance, they knew they had no choice. As they sped away in Claire's car, Sophia couldn't help but wonder what new dangers awaited them. Their journey was far from over, and the path ahead was more uncertain than ever. But as she felt Ethan's hand squeeze hers reassuringly, Sophia knew that whatever came next, they would face it together. Their love had already survived so much. Surely it could weather this storm too. As they drove into the unknown, the sun rose on a new day, full of both peril and possibility. The next chapter of their story was about to unfold, and it promised to be the most thrilling and dangerous yet. Claire drove with a focused intensity, navigating back roads and avoiding main highways. In the back seat, Sophia and Ethan exchanged worried glances, still unsure if they had made the right decision in trusting her. "Where are you taking us?" Ethan finally asked, breaking the tense silence. Claire's eyes met his in the rearview mirror. "Somewhere safe, a place my father doesn't know about." As the hours passed, the landscape changed from dense forest to rolling hills. Eventually, they pulled up to a secluded farmhouse, nestled among fields of wheat. "We'll be safe here for a while," Claire said as they entered the house. "It's off the grid, and only a handful of people know about it." Once inside, Claire turned to face them, her expression serious. "Look, I know you have no reason to trust me, but I'm on your side. I always have been." "What do you mean?" Sophia asked, confusion evident in her voice. Claire sighed, sinking into an old armchair. I've been working with the FBI for months, gathering evidence against my father and his associates. That's why I tried to warn you, Sophia. I knew how dangerous this world could be. Ethan stared at her in disbelief. Why didn't you tell me? I couldn't risk it, Claire replied. The fewer people who knew, the safer we all were. But now everything's changed. Over the next few hours, Claire filled them in on the current situation. The FBI raid had been largely successful, but some key players had managed to escape, including Ethan's father. Now they were out for revenge, and Ethan and Sophia were at the top of their list. So what's the plan? Sophia asked, feeling overwhelmed by it all. We lie low for a few days, Claire explained. I have a contact who can get us new identities and passage out of the country. Once we're abroad, we can work with international authorities to bring down the rest of the organization. As night fell, Sophia found herself unable to sleep. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Ethan, and made her way to the porch. The night was clear, stars twinkling in the vast sky above. Couldn't sleep? Claire's voice startled her. The other woman was sitting in the shadows, a mug of tea in her hands. Sophia shook her head, sitting down beside her. It's all so much to take in. Claire nodded sympathetically. I know. I'm sorry you got dragged into all this. I'm not, Sophia said, surprising herself with the conviction in her voice. I love Ethan. Whatever we have to face, we'll face it together. Claire smiled softly. You know, when I first saw you two together, I was jealous. But now I see how perfect you are for each other. Ethan's lucky to have you. They sat in companionable silence for a while, each lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Claire spoke again. We should try to get some rest. Tomorrow we start planning our next move. As Sophia crawled back into bed, Ethan stirred, pulling her close. Everything okay? He murmured sleepily. Yes, Sophia whispered, feeling safe in his arms. Everything's going to be okay. But even as she said it, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenges were still to come. The game had changed, the stakes were higher than ever, and they were caught in the middle of a dangerous web of lies, loyalty, and love. As dawn broke, Sophia knew that whatever happened next would test them in ways they had never been tested before. But she also knew that their love was strong enough to withstand anything. With Ethan by her side, she was ready to face whatever the future held. The next few days were a flurry of activity. Claire's contact, a taciturn man known only as the Fixer, arrived with new passports, credit cards, and backstories for all of them. Sophia found herself practicing a new name, a new history, preparing to leave behind everything she had ever known. Ethan spent hours on secure calls with FBI agents, providing additional information and helping to coordinate efforts to track down his father and the other fugitives. Sophia could see the toll it was taking on him, the weight of responsibility and guilt heavy on his shoulders. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Ethan turned to Sophia with a serious expression. Sophie, he said softly, I need you to know that if you want out, if this is too much, I understand. I never meant to put you in danger like this. Sophia took his face in her hands, looking deep into his eyes. Ethan, listen to me. I'm exactly where I want to be. We're in this together no matter what. Their kiss was interrupted by the sound of Claire clearing her throat. Sorry to break up the moment, but we've got a problem. She held up her phone, showing them a news article. The headline made Sophia's blood run cold. Manhunt underway for fugitive billionaire and accomplices. They've gone public, Claire explained grimly. Your father's spinning a story about how you betrayed the family, how you're the real criminal. They're painting you as a dangerous fugitive, Ethan. Ethan's face hardened. Then we need to tell our side of the story. We need to go public too. That's incredibly risky, Claire warned. It would expose us, make us easier to find. But it might also generate public support, Sophia pointed out. If people know the truth, they might be more inclined to help us. After hours of debate and planning, they decided to take the risk. With the help of the Fixer, they set up a secure video link to a trusted journalist. Ethan would tell his story, expose the truth about his family's crimes, and appeal for public support. As Ethan sat in front of the camera, Sophia stood just out of frame, offering silent support. She watched as he poured out his heart, confessing his own past mistakes, but also revealing the depth of his family's corruption. He spoke of his love for Sophia, of their dreams for a future free from the shadow of crime. When it was over, Ethan slumped in his chair, emotionally drained. Sophia wrapped her arms around him, holding him close. "You did it," she whispered. "You told the truth. Now we wait." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours of the interview airing, social media was ablaze with support for Ethan and Sophia. People shared their story, offered help, and called for justice. But with the increased attention came increased danger. "We need to move," the fixer announced the next morning. "It's not safe here anymore." As they packed their meager belongings, Sophia couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and excitement. They were embarking on a new chapter, one filled with uncertainty, but also hope. Just as they were about to leave, Claire's phone rang. Her face paled as she listened to the person on the other end. "What is it?" Ethan asked, tension evident in his voice. Claire looked at them, her eyes wide with fear. "They found us. They're coming. We have less than an hour." In that moment, Sophia realized that their true test was just beginning. As they rushed to escape, she gripped Ethan's hand tightly. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Their love had already conquered so much. Surely it could conquer this too. As they sped away from the farmhouse, the sun rising on a new day, Sophia knew that their story was far from over. The road ahead was fraught with danger, but it was also paved with the strength of their love and the hope for a better future. The chase was on, and the stakes had never been higher. But Sophia and Ethan were ready. Together they would fight for their love, for justice, and for the chance to finally live the life they had always dreamed of. The next few hours were a blur of high-speed driving and tense silence. Claire expertly navigated back roads and hidden paths, always one step ahead of their pursuers. In the back seat, Sophia clung tightly to Ethan's hand, her heart pounding with every sudden turn or distant sound of sirens. As night fell, they found themselves in a small coastal town. The fixer had arranged a safe house for them, a modest fishing cabin on the outskirts of town. As they pulled up to the weathered wooden structure, Sophia couldn't help but feel a mix of relief and apprehension. "We should be safe here for a few days," Claire said, her voice betraying her exhaustion. "But we need to keep a low profile. No unnecessary outings, no contact with the outside world." Once inside, Ethan immediately went to work, setting up secure communication lines with his FBI contacts. Sophia watched him, noting the determined set of his jaw and the worry lines creasing his forehead. She wanted nothing more than to smooth those lines away, to take away the burden he carried. As the days passed, they settled into an uneasy routine. Ethan spent hours on encrypted calls, providing information and helping to coordinate efforts to bring down the remaining members of his father's organization. Sophia found herself taking on the role of caretaker, ensuring everyone ate and rested, offering support wherever she could. One evening, as they sat on the cabin's small porch watching the sunset over the ocean, Sophia turned to Ethan. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked softly. "Giving up everything, putting yourself in danger like this?" Ethan was quiet for a moment, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Then he turned to her, a small smile playing on his lips. "The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner, not meeting you sooner." He took her hand in his. "You gave me the courage to do what I knew was right, Sophie. You showed me what real love and integrity looked like. I'd go through all of this 100 times over if it meant ending up here with you." Tears pricked at Sophia's eyes as she leaned in to kiss him. In that moment, despite all the danger and uncertainty surrounding them, she felt a profound sense of peace. This was where she belonged. Their moment was interrupted by Claire bursting out of the cabin, her face pale. "We've got a problem," she said, her voice tight with tension. "My contact at the FBI just sent word. Ethan's father, he's made a deal with the authorities." "What kind of deal?" Ethan asked, standing up quickly. Claire's eyes met his, filled with a mix of anger and fear. "Full immunity. In exchange for information on other criminal organizations, he walks free. And he's coming after you, Ethan." "Both of you." The news hit them like a physical blow. All their efforts, all the risks they had taken, seemed to crumble in an instant. Sophia felt a wave of despair threaten to overwhelm her, but then she looked at Ethan. His jaw was set, his eyes blazing with determination. "No," he said firmly. "I won't let him win. We've come too far, sacrificed too much. There has to be a way to stop this. For the next few hours, they brainstormed frantically. Calls were made, favors called in. The fixer arrived in the early hours of the morning, bringing with him a glimmer of hope. "There's one last piece of evidence," he explained, laying out a series of documents on the table. "Something your father doesn't know you have, Ethan. It's enough to negate his deal and put him away for good. But retrieving it, it's going to be dangerous." The plan they formulated was risky, bordering on suicidal. It would require them to return to Malibu, to the very heart of the danger they had been fleeing, but it was their only chance. As they prepared to leave, packing what few belongings they had, Sophia pulled Ethan aside. "Whatever happens," she said, looking up into his eyes, "I want you to know that I love you. These past few months, despite all the danger and craziness, have been the best of my life. You've shown me what it means to be brave, to stand up for what's right, and I'll stand with you no matter what." Ethan's eyes shimmered with unshed tears as he pulled her close. "I love you too, Sophie. More than I ever thought possible. When this is all over, I promise you we'll have the life we've dreamed of, just you and me." As they drove back towards Malibu, the rising sun painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Sophia felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. They were heading into the lion's den, risking everything for a chance at justice and a future together. But with Ethan by her side, she felt like they could face anything. Little did they know that the greatest test of their love and courage was yet to come. The final confrontation loomed ahead, a battle that would determine not just their fate, but the fate of many others caught in the web of corruption and deceit. As they sped towards their destiny, Sophia silently prayed that their love would be strong enough to see them through the challenges ahead. The familiar skyline of Malibu came into view, and with it, a sense that they were approaching the final chapter of their tumultuous journey. Whatever happened next would change their lives forever, but they were ready. Together, they would face whatever came their way, their love a beacon of hope in the darkness that threatened to engulf them. As they approached Malibu, the tension in the car was palpable. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white, while Sophia kept a watchful eye on their surroundings. Claire sat in the back, constantly checking her phone for updates from her FBI contacts. Their destination was a seemingly innocuous storage facility on the outskirts of town. According to the fixer, this was where Ethan's father had hidden a backup of all his illegal transactions and connections, a digital insurance policy that had now become their last hope. As they pulled into the parking lot, Ethan turned to Sophia. "You don't have to come in. It might be safer if you wait here with Claire." Sophia shook her head firmly. "We're in this together, remember? I'm not leaving your side." With a nod of understanding, Ethan led the way. Using the access codes provided by the fixer, they made their way through the maze-like corridors of the facility. Every sound echoed ominously, making them jump at shadows. Finally, they reached the unit they were looking for. Ethan's hands shook slightly as he entered the code. The lock clicked open, and they stepped inside. The unit was filled with filing cabinets and old computer equipment. In the center stood a state-of-the-art server, humming quietly. "This is it," Ethan breathed. "Everything we need to bring him down is in here." As Sophia watched, Ethan began the process of accessing and copying the data. Minutes ticked by agonizingly slowly. Suddenly, Claire's voice crackled over their earpieces. "We've got company," she warned. "Black SUVs just pulled into the lot. You need to get out of there now." Ethan worked faster, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "Just a few more seconds," he muttered. The sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor, growing louder by the second. Sophia's heart raced as she positioned herself by the door, ready to act as lookout. "Done!" Ethan exclaimed, pocketing a small hard drive. "Let's go!" They rushed out of the unit only to find themselves face to face with two burly men in suits. Before Sophia could react, Ethan had tackled one of them, shouting for her to run. Adrenaline coursing through her veins, Sophia sprinted down the corridor. She could hear the sounds of struggle behind her, but she forced herself not to look back. She had to get the hard drive to safety. As she burst out into the parking lot, she saw Claire waving frantically from their car. But before she could reach it, a familiar voice stopped her in her tracks. Well, what do we have here?" Sophia turned slowly to find herself face to face with Ethan's father, flanked by more suited men. His cold eyes bore into her, a cruel smile playing on his lips. "Where's my son?" he asked, his voice deceptively calm. Sophia stood her ground, her chin raised defiantly. "You'll never win," she spat. "We have everything we need to bring you down." The older man's smile widened. "Oh, my dear, you have no idea what you're up against." Just then, the sound of police sirens filled the air. Ethan's father's smile faltered for a moment before he composed himself. "This isn't over," he growled, before turning and rushing to one of the waiting SUVs. As they sped away, Ethan emerged from the building, bruised but triumphant. He ran to Sophia, enveloping her in a tight embrace. "You did it," she whispered, clinging to him. "You got the evidence." Ethan pulled back, cupping her face in his hands. "We did it," he corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you, Sophie." As the police cars pulled into the lot, lights flashing, Sophia felt a wave of relief wash over her. It wasn't over yet, but they had taken a crucial step towards justice. The next few days were a whirlwind of debriefings, statements, and legal proceedings. The evidence Ethan had retrieved proved to be the key to unraveling his father's entire criminal empire. Arrests were made, deals were struck, and slowly but surely, the truth came to light. Through it all, Sophia stood by Ethan's side, offering unwavering support. She watched with pride as he testified, laying bare the years of corruption and deceit. And when it was all over, when the last verdict had been read and the dust began to settle, they found themselves standing on the beach where their journey had begun. "So," Sophia said, intertwining her fingers with Ethan's. "What happens now?" Ethan smiled, pulling her close. "Now, we start living. Really living." He dropped to one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. "Sophia, you've been my strength, my conscience, my heart through all of this. Will you marry me?" Tears of joy streamed down Sophia's face as she nodded, unable to speak. As Ethan slipped the ring onto her finger, she knew that whatever challenges the future held, they would face them together. The sun set on Malibu Beach, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink. As Sophia and Ethan walked hand in hand along the shore, they knew that their greatest adventure was just beginning. Their love had weathered the storm, emerging stronger than ever. And now, with the shadows of the past finally behind them, they were ready to step into the light of their future together.